Join Subcontractors Unite.
Shiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sactown Sports.
Feeding your passion for local sports in the afternoon. It's the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Drape on radio at 11:40 a.m.
Streaming audio at SactownSports.com and the Sactown Sports app.
You can also watch the show on YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140. Here are the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Drape.
What is up, everybody? It is your boy Drape here on Wednesday in the city of Charlotte. They call it the Queen City. We are hoping the Sacramento Kings own the King Queens today. When it comes to NBA basketball, the Kings coming off a big win last night against the only a half-hour show because it's an early start. We got game night, High Flyer and Scott Marsh coming up at the bottom of the hour. Over this next half hour, we're going to get into a lot. We're going to talk about the win yesterday. I'm going to tell you exactly how Sacramento is going to beat Charlotte tonight. We also got to go back to what took place yesterday between the Lakers and the Toronto Raptors and the Raptors head coach going off. We're going to hear from you guys on this one. Did the ref through the Toronto Raptors? No Kings fans, sort of deja vu. You know exactly how that feels. A parade of free throws from the Los Angeles Lakers, but we'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140 is the number to hit me up. I'm going to be taking your calls. I'm also going to be checking the text line and the YouTube chat as well. First, I want to give a shout out to the big news out of the NFL today. Pete Carroll, after 14 seasons done as Seattle Seahawks head coach, he will stay with the organization in an advisory role as of now. But Pete Carroll, I would argue that it was a solid tenure, a very good tenure in Seattle. Kept them relevant the entire time, won a Super Bowl, should have won two, if you ask me. But Pete Carroll done in Charlotte, if you want to weigh on that, 916-339-40. But let's start with what transpired last night in the city of Detroit. And I'm feeling you, Sacramento Kings fans. I was feeling you during the game yesterday. I was feeling you in that first quarter. I just was, I said Sunday when we lost and got beat down by the Pelicans, like I was in an episode of The Walking Dead. The Kings were walking dead in that first quarter last night against the Detroit Pistons. I'm not sure what happened in that first quarter. All of a sudden, Detroit looked like the 15, 16 Golden State Warriors. I mean, you had Bojan Bogdanovic hitting three after three. He finished the game in that first quarter with 13 points. Jalen Duren, he looked like a man-child out there. He had 10 points in that first quarter, and the Kings gave up 47. And I can't tell you how frustrated I was as I'm on the call for that game, and I'm seeing my guys, our guys, go down like that in the first quarter. They got outscored 47-29, 47 points, a franchise record for first quarter points for the Detroit Pistons. Now, mind you, Isaiah Thomas ain't walking through that door. Joe Dumars, Chauncey Billups wasn't even walking through that door. But somehow this Pistons team scored 47 on us. I was upset. Trust me, I was upset, just like all of you guys were. But then the rest of the game transpired. And then I said, you know what? My boys are back. That second quarter was a masterclass in how the Kings should play. And I got Drape's takes coming up in just a minute. We're going to get into it. But what they did in that second quarter, and somehow they were able to flip the switch 39-18. They locked the Detroit Pistons down. They got Duren in foul trouble. Bogdanovic cooled off. They hit a lot of threes in that first quarter, talking about Detroit. They were 2 of 11 in the second quarter, 4 of 20 overall, 20% from the field. And if you're Mike Brown, that's what you want to see. I understand you can't do that every single minute of every single game. But the effort we saw in that second quarter, that's how it should have been right from the jump. And that's what had me so disappointed yesterday. You lose by 33 to the Pelicans. You get down 53 points at one point to the Pelicans. And you come out like that in the first quarter? What was going? I mean, if I'm Mike Brown, I'm like, we just had the film session. We just had practice. And this is how you guys are going to come out? But fortunately, like I said, the first quarter, they got past that, and then Kings basketball returned. So I want to hear from you. 916-339-1140. I see you guys out there on the YouTube chat as well. Appreciate you sticking in. I am on the call for tonight's game on this entire road trip, game 2 of this 5-game road trip. And we owe these guys something. We owe Charlotte something. We owe Scary Terry something. Let's not forget, Scary Terry came in our building last week and dropped 34 on us and did it while smiling. Let's not forget, Miles Bridges came in and dropped 27, 28 on us last week. So we owe these guys something. I'm going to tell you exactly how the Sacramento Kings can beat the Charlotte Hornets tonight and what's it going to take. I'm also going to get into the Pascal Siakam situation because Pascal Siakam, and I'll get into it right now, as a matter of fact. I don't want to mention Pascal Siakam's name in the word Sacramento again until he plays a game against the Sacramento Kings. The Pascal Siakam stuff is dead. I told you guys this last week. I told you it's not going to happen. And here's why. 1, Toronto wanted entirely too much. 2, as Sam Amick reported today, and I'll read you a quote from Sam, Pascal Siakam was not going to re-sign. Sam Amick of The Athletic, great reporter, he wrote this. According to 2 league sources, the Kings should have very little, if any, optimism regarding the prospect of Siakam re-signing in the summer if they were to land him. With that in mind, it should surprise no one that the Kings are unwilling to include second-year forward Keegan Murray in the deal. He goes on to write, and while Siakam has not asked for a trade, the sources say he doesn't view the Kings as a good long-term fit if the Raptors chose to move him there. Pascal Siakam, it was nice knowing you. We don't want you anyway. You're a great player, but we want people that want to be here. We want people that want to be a part of something special. And so this is the last time, Kings fans. This is the last time I'm going to say Pascal Siakam and Sacramento in the same sentence until we travel to Toronto later this season. It's not going to happen. With that said, we got to turn our attention to some other targets. And so if you got anybody out there you want, I'm checking the YouTube chat. Hit me up, 916-339-1140. But, Nate, let's get into Drape's take right now because I got some takes about last night's game. And I was frustrated just like you, Kings fans, watching that first quarter. But our boys, they turned it around. Let's dive into Drape's takes here on The Drive Guys, Sactown Sports, 1140.
Calm down, Lion. Calm down. Take it easy, man. Just take it easy.
And what is up, everybody? I got to start off with my guy, Domantas Sabonis. If you didn't know, now you know. Domantas Sabonis is that dude. You know how great Domantas Sabonis is? He even had Kevin O'Connor, tongue-in-cheek, I might add, talking about how great he was today on social media. Kevin O'Connor went out there and showed some love to our guy, Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis, I thought, came out with the right energy, the right mindset, the right effort last night against the Detroit Pistons. 37 points, 10 rebounds, 13 assists, and more than that, forget the numbers in the box score. He got Jalen Duren in foul trouble. He got James Wiseman up out of there as well. Like, nobody could handle Domantas Sabonis. And this guy, in my opinion, and tell me if I'm wrong, Kings fans. Tell me if you don't agree. If you think I'm wrong, let's hear it. He is the third best center in the entire NBA. I don't want to hear about Rudy Gobert. I don't want to hear about Kristaps Porzingis out there in Boston. Behind Embiid and Jokic, it's our boy Domantas Sabonis. I'm not including Anthony Davis. I know Anthony Davis is a monster. But what Domantas Sabonis did last night after that game against the Pelicans, we should never, ever, ever question Domantas Sabonis' effort again. Because I was looking for heart and soul of the team. He's the heart and soul of the Sacramento Kings. That's my first Drape's take. Domantas Sabonis, I salute you, my man. My second Drape's take, I got to give it to my guy, Keegan Murray. He was non-existent in that first quarter. He's out there warming up right now. I see him getting up some shots. 1 of 2 from the field. 2 points in that first quarter. But boy, did he turn it around in a big way. And the great thing about what Keegan Murray did last night, 32 points, 13 of 17 from the field, he did it from all levels. He did it from inside. He did it from mid-range. He knocked down 5 threes as well. And Nate, we're going to cue up Mike Brown sound on Keegan Murray because this is the Keegan Murray I want to see time and time again. I want to see aggressive Keegan Murray. Give me 17 shots a night, Keegan. I love it. You're the 4th overall pick. You should be the second option offensively on this team, and you brought it last night. Here's what Mike Brown had to say yesterday about Keegan Murray after the game.
I thought he mixed it up. He didn't just settle for the 3. He didn't just settle for a little step back. He got to the rim. He shot the pull-up. He shot a floater. He shot a couple of threes. And then, like you said, that defense generated some easy looks on the offense end of the floor, and he was a beneficiary of a couple of those. And he's a guy, when he sees 1 or 2 go down, look out. That thing is like an ocean to him.
Mike Brown, you're 100% right because you saw it during the second quarter. Once 1 or 2 really started going down, then he became more aggressive. I need to see that Keegan Murray right from the jump tonight against the Charlotte team who we owe. Keegan can be that dude. We see it. Scoring comes easy to him. He just has to push himself, and he has to be more aggressive and more selfish out there. My third and final Drape's take, and I'll make this quick. The defense we saw in the second quarter, and I talked about it. The defense we saw in the second quarter That's what Mike Brown has been preaching. The defense we saw at times in that second half, that's the game plan. That's what Mike Brown has been talking about. Remember that one play? Kings came up with the steal. Keegan dove on the ground. It wasn't just Keegan diving on the ground. Malik also was on the ground going after the ball. That's something they preach. First one to the ground. And for the first time in a while, we actually saw that. And so I'm hoping what we saw the final 3 quarters, we can bottle up and bring it into tonight against the Charlotte team, like I said, that we owe. All right, coming up in a minute, 916-339-1140. I want to stick with the NBA. Does it have an officiating problem? Remember, last night, Toronto and Lakers, we'll get into it. The Lakers shot 23 free throws in the fourth quarter as they were able to outlast Toronto. You'll hear from Darko Rajakovic, and we'll talk about that coming up next. It's the Drive Guys, Sactown Sports, 1140.
The Philadelphia Eagles have limped into the postseason. Tampa Bay won their division on the final day of the regular season. These two collide on Monday to close out Super Wild Card Weekend. We have all the play-by-play action Monday at 4:30 of the Eagles and Buccaneers on Sactown Sports, your home for Super Bowl 58.
Capital Casino has been serving the greater Sacramento area in the same convenient downtown location for over 20 years, with plenty of close-by, well-lit parking monitored by security staff and offering the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Best food, best service, and the best action. That's Capital Casino. For more information on tournaments and gaming, check out their website at capital-casino.com. And please remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
The world has changed a lot these last few years. You can do pretty much anything from your home, including order your new Honda from Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Check out our great selection at StocktonHonda.com or come in today and get pre-approved all in the blink of an eye. Stockton Honda makes buying a car simple and stress-free.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Live and local, it's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
23 free throws in that fourth quarter. What did you?
Thank you, Doug. That's outrageous. What happened tonight? This is completely BS. This is shame. Shame for the referees. Shame for the league to allow this. 23 free throws for them, and we get 2 free throws in the fourth quarter. Like how to play the game. I understand respect for all stars and all that, but we have star players on our team as well. How's possible as Scotty Barnes, who is all-star caliber player in this league, he goes every single time to the rim with force, trying to get to the rim without flopping and not trying to get foul calls. He gets 2 free throws for the whole game. How's that possible? How are you going to explain that to me? They had to win tonight? If that's the case, just let us know so we don't show up for the game. Just give them a win. But that was not fair tonight. And this is not happening first time for us. Scotty Barnes is going to be all-star. He's going to be the face of this league. And what's happening over here during whole season, I've been calling it back. It's a complete crap.
First of all, that's an epic rant right there. That is an epic rant from Raptors coach Darko Rajakovic. But let me ask you a question, Kings fans. And I know where you sit on this, most of you. Did the refs actually rob the Raptors last night? Let me set the scene. Tight game in LA. Lakers and Raptors. The Lakers go to the line 23 times in the fourth quarter alone. The Raptors, 2 foul shots. What's even more preposterous is that the Lakers shot 19 free throws in the final 4 minutes of the game. I know it's deja vu. I know it's making you feel like 2002 all over again, Kings fans, when the Lakers shot 27 free throws in Game 6. But I'm here to tell you, if you didn't actually watch that fourth quarter, you should go do it. Because here's my take on it. I thought most of the foul calls were legitimate. And hear me out. I know I'm a Kings broadcaster. I'm not supposed to be sympathetic to the Lakers, but I went back and I actually studied the tape and I watched it. The Lakers shot 23 free throws in the fourth quarter. 8 of those came in the final 30 to 40 seconds when the Raptors were fouling anyway. So let's say they shot 15 free throws. There were maybe 1 or 2 that I thought, okay, maybe questionable. But for the most part, they were mostly fouls. Here's where I have a problem, though. The Raptors only shot 2. They should have went to the line 6, 7, 8 times at least in that fourth quarter. Now, I don't think the NBA is rigged. I don't think the refs cheated. I think either A, they're bad, or B, the NBA, and this is my take here, they have not an officiating problem, but a perception problem. Anytime a team loses, what's the first thing we do? We look at the box score. Oh, they shot 30 free throws. We only shot 10. The league is rigged. This narrative has to stop. And it's on every platform, whether it's ESPN, social media, Fox, our station. This narrative that the league is rigged has to stop, in my opinion. I went back and watched the tape. I understand, Kings fans. You don't want the Lakers to shoot any free throws. I get it. I understand that. But watching that game, for the most part, they were fouls. Now, should the Raptors have gotten some more free throws? Yes. But I didn't think it was egregious to the fact where people are saying it's rigged, Darko after the game, Raptors broadcast. I mean, come on, what are we doing? Do we really think the NBA is going to rig a regular season game in January for the Los Angeles Lakers? I don't think so. And so I think the NBA has a perception problem, not a referee problem. What's real versus perceived needs to be addressed. And if I'm Adam Silver, something has to change. I don't know whether you talk to your broadcast partners, but every time I watch a local broadcast, and we're at fault too, we adjudicate a foul call right on the spot. These are the best officials in the world. They're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen. But you are insulting their integrity, and you're insulting the integrity of the league by saying this is rigged. And so I said to myself, before I weigh in, because there's a lot of people weighing in on this topic, and they never even watched the game. They're just looking at social media and saying, 23 free throws, something's got to be wrong. Watch the game. Watch the tape. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being too sympathetic to the Lakers. But I watched the tape. In Toronto, they fouled a lot. They should have gotten some more calls. Like that moving screen on R.J. Barrett, that was a moving screen. Once you pass, you got to stop. He drifted into AD. Now, AD sold it. If you want to say Anthony Davis should have been whistled for flopping, okay, we can have that argument. But what R.J. Barrett did was a foul. Emmanuel Quickly, his 6th foul, when he brought the elbows up, that's a flagrant every single time in the NBA right now. You can't do that anymore. And so that's just my take on that game, man. I know you guys out there probably feel differently about it, but I urge you to go watch the tape of that game. It's egregious. Yes, 23-2. It sounds it more probably should have been 15-8, something like that. But remember, the Raptors were fouling the last 45 seconds or so. And so Matt Brackman on the YouTube chat, I don't think it's about getting robbed. It's about refs giving calls to star players, but not other players. We see it against Sack all the time. Even though Fox is a star, he doesn't get the same calls. I understand what you're saying, Matt. That's been a problem in the league since Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. The stars get the calls. De'Aaron Fox is a star. But I looked at the numbers as well. Look at De'Aaron Fox's free throw attempts versus three-point attempts. When he started taking more threes, his free throw attempts went down to about 5 a game. Before, in mid-December or so, before that, he was taking 8 free throws a game. And so we need De'Aaron Fox to start getting downhill more instead of settling them for threes. How about that, too? That's my point on that. And I see you guys weighing in. CK Drapes, you just said yourself that the refs didn't call like 6 or 7 fouls. No, the Raptors should have had about 6 free throw attempts, I'm saying. Not 6 or 7 fouls. Probably 2 or 3 fouls that they could have called. But it didn't seem to me watching that game like a coordinated effort to, we're just going to blow the whistle on this end and not the other. It didn't seem like that. And I hate that's the narrative that's being put out there. And I'll tell you why this is bothering me so much. I love the NBA. I've been an NBA fan for 40-something years now. My first NBA memory is 1983, the Sixers beating the Lakers. And so when I see people touting this conspiracy theory that just in my eyes isn't true, because I went back and I watched the tape. Just watch the tape. If it was the Orlando Magic that got those calls, nobody would be talking about it. But because it's the Lakers and the history, I get it. All right, that's my soapbox. I only got 90 seconds left. Let me give you something real quick on how the Kings can win this game. First of all, it needs to happen in the first quarter. They got to come out with a fast start. That's one thing that they've been lacking so far this season, especially over the last 2 weeks or so. When you look at the offensive rating and the defensive rating for the Sacramento Kings in the first quarter since January 1st, they're 25th in the league in offensive rating, 27th in defensive rating. I need a better first quarter from my guys. I need a better first quarter from Sacramento. Second way is a simple task. We all know it. You got to shut down Scary Terry. Can't let this dude go off at 34. He had 39 the other night that the Hornets played. They are banged up, battered, bruised. No LaMelo, no Gordon Hayward. P.J. Washington is doubtful. Terry Rozier is their only hope of going off and winning this game. Keep him under 25, you win. I got to get out of here. I got to get ready for the call. Make sure you tune in. Obviously, NBC Sports California. And if you can't, obviously right here on Sactown Sports 1140. G-Man on the call coming up in about 90 minutes. Coming up next, however, it is game night. Scott Marsh, the high flyer. They'll be in studio. That'll do it for the drive, guys, here on Sactown Sports 1140. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you on the broadcast.
De'Aaron Fox plays here.
Stolen by Fox. Breakaway coming up for De'Aaron. And a simple, casual spike with the left hand. The Kings lead by 3.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We are looking at a cloudy, overcast afternoon. A few showers here and there expected, but not a lot of rain will pick up today. Highs will peak in the mid-50s. It'll be a tad breezy at times as well. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
The new year is here at Folsom Lake Kia. Shop my favorite dealer, Folsom Lake Kia, for low interest rates, low payment with 0 down deals with approved credit. Folsom Lake Kia for over 25 years right here in Sacramento.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years.
Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or visit them at powercopiers.com. Here's your host, Scott Marsh, alongside the high flyer, Henry Turner.
Game night right here on Sactown Sports 1140. That's right, game night right here, Sactown 1140. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer, Henry Turner. Back to back for the Kings tonight. Kings and Hornets. Hopefully it's not deja vu. We saw this last week in Sacramento. It wasn't good. The Hornets, it's their only win in the last 14 games. We'll talk about that and a lot more. We'll be with you for the next hour, getting you ready for Kings Live pregame. Tip tonight, 4 o'clock in Charlotte. G-Man with the call. High flyer. Of course, we got to go back to last night. Kings won last night. That was the very good news. They did some good things in that game, especially the last 3 quarters of the game. We'll talk about that. Obviously, people are talking about that 47-point first quarter as well. What'd you make of it? I mean, Kings got the win, but it certainly wasn't pretty to start.
Well, Scott, I will say this. These last few games for the Sacramento Kings, I am so glad that the NBA give us good medical. Because, see, I think I'm at the beginning stages of an ulcer. I know I got high blood pressure. Yeah. Boy, these Kings is taking me up and down, boy.
It's been a ride. There's no doubt.
It has definitely been a ride. But that game last night, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, as much as I praise this team, and I like where they're going, I like what they're doing, I like what I told you, I'm buying what Coach Brown is selling.
Yep.
Something happens, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way, and give Detroit. I hate keep saying this. Give Detroit credit.
Yep.
They came out and they shot the ball lights out.
Yes, they
did.
That
first quarter, they shot the ball lights out.
Man.
But I'm sorry. This is a team that's struggling. Mm-hmm. This is a team that's rebuilding. This is a team that has basically all young players, no vets, 2 vets.
Their best player out.
I mean, and they're scrambling, trying to find wins. And you let these guys get you down by 20. Oh, man. I mean, bro, I was laid out here on the floor.
I hear you, man. I can feel your pain on that one. I felt the same way. I mean, they were down first quarter 47-29. Now, if you look at just the box score and you hadn't watched the game, you say, okay, Kings won 131-110.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers look just fine. They shot 57% from the floor. They shot 40% from 3. Sabonis had a monster night. Keegan had 32. You're feeling great about it. So in the big picture of the 4-quarter scheme, okay, fine. But as we know, it's the roller coaster ride and what you're talking about, the angst throughout the 48 minutes.
And Scooter, have you noticed this? Where our conversation, night after night, is the overall scheme. The Sacramento Kings are okay.
Yeah, the big picture trend.
Yeah, the big picture, they're okay.
22-14, they're 9-7 on the road.
We'll ride with all of that.
Yeah,
but then we talking about. Man, did you see those 2 games? Did you see the last game? Did you check out those last 3 quarters?
Yeah.
The Kings are a good basketball team, but let's keep it 100. Because we cover this team every single game, we see the holes.
Yes.
We see the parts to where they really need to upgrade. We see all the flaws of this team.
We do. And if you want to join us, you certainly can. We'd love to hear from you, 916-339-1140. You can text us, and you can also give us a call. And, of course, the YouTube chat room's up at Sactown 1140 as well. We'd love to hear from you in there, and we'll keep on talking throughout the breaks as well on the chat with additional conversation there. It's almost the feeling like sometimes when I go to a Cal football game, and it's a beautiful, sunny afternoon, great day, everything's wonderful, but I also know that stadium is built underneath a fault line, and I can't help myself thinking in the background, what if there's an earthquake? What if something's going on here, right? And they know it's like, okay, chances are 1 in a million. But I guess that's kind of my point with the Kings a little bit here, because the big picture trend is good, but it does feel like there are some cracks, and because our expectations are high, I won't say we're focusing more on the cracks than the big picture, but the cracks are as much of the story as the big picture.
It is. It is because they're doing what they need to do as far as, trying to take the next step. But we also understand that they're one step from being where they need to be, and they're one step from being, what the hell happened here?
Mm-hmm.
It's the margin for error is so slim for them. Yeah. It's like, okay, you guys gonna get it together?
I hear you. The first quarter was atrocious. The last three were amazing. I mean, to put it in context, they gave up 45 second half points, which was less than what they gave up in the entire first quarter. And of course, the second quarter is really what got them going,
right?
When they only gave up 18 points, got things going offensively, had a 39-point second quarter. So even though they were down 18 after one, they led at halftime 68-65.
They did. And the crazy thing is, Scott, the way we praise the second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, we were supposed to praise the first quarter like that also. If they would have came out and played the exact same way in the first quarter as they did those last three, because here's what's alarming.
Yep.
Here's what's alarming. We love the team. We want the team to do great things. But what's alarming is that you go down 20 points against a Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to come back from that. Detroit will let you back in the game. You can't do that against a Golden State. You can't do that against a Phoenix, Minnesota, OKC. You're not good enough to come back from those teams, and those teams aren't going to let you come back from a 20-point deficit like that.
Yeah, like New Orleans on Sunday, for example.
You cannot do that and think that you're going to continue to be successful.
Yep. All right. In that second quarter, we saw a little bit of JTA, Juan Toscano-Anderson, who had just been re-signed. First time playing since December 31st, got his second 10-day contract, played 14 minutes off the bench, kind of helped a little bit with getting that run back, the defensive intensity. I thought it was interesting to see him inserted early. It was, again, Mike Brown trying to find something to get it working.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem, Scott, in a nutshell. Mike Brown knows right now, because it's been solidified, whoever he starts at that 2 position, they're not giving him what he needs.
Yeah, I started Herter last night. Of course, Herter was 2 for 11.
Hey, he could play with Herter. He could play with Duarte. Whoever starts, they're not giving you what you need.
Yeah.
All right. Harrison Barnes, he's giving you what you need every 4 games. That 4th game, he comes out, he gives you exactly what you need. He gives you 16, 18 points and rebounds. But the next 3, he's giving you 2, 4, 6. That's where,
and last night it was 0 in 14 minutes.
And that's where Anderson got a chance to be able to slide in and get some minutes.
Yep, and he helped. Again, our look back last night with Mike Brown, brought to you by Folsom Lake Honda. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. All right, let's focus on some of the good things from last night, because there were a lot of good despite the ugly beginning. And again, it's got to start with Sabonis. What a night this guy had. He came out, it was on fire from the first quarter. He was not the issue whatsoever at any point in this game. He finished with 37 points. He was 16 of 11 from the floor. He had 13 assists, 10 rebounds, his 9th triple-double of the season, the 41st of his career.
And let's say it's his 7th triple-double in 11 games.
Yeah, I think the last 12. But
12 games, something crazy like that. Sabonis did his thing. I still think De'Aaron's a little tired, a little winded, but he played a good game.
Yep.
Keegan Murray stepped it up.
He did. He was great off the bench.
If we can get
excuse me, Monk was great off the bench. Keegan was great starting the game with 32.
If we can get a Keegan Murray that gives us that averages 20 points.
Yeah.
If he can average 20 points for us, we're there. We're there. That gives you your big 3 starting, and that gives you Malik the Magnificent coming off the bench. We're there.
No doubt. I mean, if you look at the combined points, 95 points between Sabonis, Murray, and Fox last night.
Yeah, look at that. You sprinkle in Monk, he gives you another 20.
115 between those 4, 115 to the 131.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If we can just say, and I guess it's kind of asinine to ask these guys to do that on a consistent basis because Fox has been playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
Sabonis is playing out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
That game for Keegan last night wasn't a regular game.
Nope.
And Malik Monk is pretty much giving you what Malik gives you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he comes off the bench to give you, I love it. Yeah. So, to ask those guys to do that on a consistent basis, that big, okay, just give me a fraction of that.
Yep.
Fox, you can give me 20. Sabonis, you can give me 20. If Keegan can give me 18, 20, Malik can give me 18, 20, that's enough for them to win.
Yeah, it's a recipe for success.
Right.
Especially against a Detroit Pistons team. The other startling stat from this game, points in the paint. The Kings had 82 paint points. It's a record for a regular season game for the Sacramento Kings. They had 88 in an overtime game, but they just dominated inside.
You mean to tell me that they found a way to win a basketball game without shooting threes?
82.
They looking at a different way, Scott, to create offensive potency besides standing out, knocking down three-pointers?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about a basketball team that's taking a step in the right direction.
Yeah, that was impressive. And obviously, Sabonis took him to him last night. Our look back at the points in the paint brought to you by RT Painting, your reliable and trusted painter in the Sacramento market since 1998. Other things that jump out with you, the Pistons now have lost 33 of 34 games, 3-33. I will say this. I mentioned it before the game, but Bojan Bogdanovic, we've talked about a lot of players who probably are on the sell list that would be highly coveted. There was nothing I saw from Bojan's game last night that I don't think would look great or would look great in a Kings uniform and any other team that wants to compete for a deep playoff run.
Hey, the way that dude is shooting the basketball.
Oh, man, he was impressive.
The one thing that I look at him, he can score, no doubt.
Yeah.
And on a team like that, your scoring better stand out if you're in this league. The one thing that when you talk about, okay, would he look great in a Sacramento Kings uniform? Offensively, no doubt. Offensively, he's going to give it to you. But is he a Mike Brown type guy? Because he ain't doing nothing on the defensive side. He's not staying in front of nobody. He might grab a couple of rebounds, but he's not a defensive juggernaut. So, you got another guy that's going to come in here. Like I said, if he could be legitimately that way on the offensive side, you take him.
Yep.
You take him because it pushes your offense, and I'm pretty sure you get another guy like that, your offense is back to being number one in the league. But is he going to give it to you on the defensive side? Your defense is still going to stay the same.
No doubt. But that shooting punch would look pretty good. And to your point with Harrison Barnes, if every fourth game he's going to give you no points in 14 minutes.
I mean, I love Harrison Barnes, bro. You know
I
that.
know you do.
I do. But,
we all do.
But it's so disappointing, Scott, because for me, and I've said this since Harrison been here, because I know what the dude is capable of. For Harrison to play, and he didn't play this amount of minutes last night, and his minutes were cut, but it's been plenty of games where Harrison had played 25 plus minutes and has taken 3 shots.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable for me. I don't care what you do. Harrison, you have the green light. You know what? I'd rather for you to take 6 bad shots than to come out and just play, give me 3 good shots, and that's all you give me.
Last night it was 1
shot. Yep. But he only played 15 minutes last night.
True. Yeah. Obviously he was out there to start the game, and it was an avalanche by the Pistons, but the Kings turned it around. All right. For Kevin Huerter, he shot the ball well in the fourth quarter in that blowout against New Orleans. He started last night, couldn't find the basket last night.
What's going on with the starting position at 2?
That's what I want to know. And for Huerter, obviously it's mental with him at this point, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, because
is there anything you're noticing physically?
It's almost
in his stroke right now.
Well, really, Scott, they've only played with 2 people at the 2.
Yeah.
They've only played with Huerter and Duarte. Monk comes in, and honestly, I think Monk plays the point when he comes in because the ball is in his hands. He facilitates.
He's a great distributor.
He facilitates.
Yeah.
Right now, you might even have to go a little bit deeper. You know what? You might have to look at let me see. You might have to look at KE.
Why not?
at the 2.
Yeah.
You know,
Colby Jones.
If you stay packed with this roster, I feel the same way with the 3 position. You might have to move Keegan over to 3 and start Trey Lyles at the 4.
That's true too.
I'm for that because for some reason it seems like Brown loves Monk coming off the bench. And I understand where you go with that. You want something coming off your bench. You need some firepower coming off your bench. But I look at some of the games that the Kings have lost. Well, you don't have nothing coming out the gate. Right. So it makes no difference what comes off your bench.
Yeah, they could recover last night, but to your point, against the better teams in the league, you're not going to get down 20 points in the first quarter and realistically expect to come back most NBA nights.
And, you know, and it seems like to me, Kevin Huerter might feel a little bit more comfortable coming off the bench. Maybe he don't have the pressure because he came off the bench and he shot the ball well against New Orleans.
He did. He had a good night in that fourth quarter. Of course, it was meaningless basketball. I mean, the outcome was already known, but anything to get Huerter going.
But the pressure wasn't there.
That's right. That's absolutely.
You know, I talk about this with you all the time. I'm like, everybody can't be that guy. I don't care how bad somebody else wants you to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know, you're only going to be who you're going to be. You know, I can't make a Robin a Batman. It's like you are the Robin. I'm sorry. That's who you are.
Everybody's got their spot. All right. Game night's underway. Early game night today with the 4:00 tip in Charlotte. When we come back, we'll focus in on the game a little bit more. We'll get you caught up around the league, all the other news and notes from last night. The coaches, the theme today, a couple of big signings, a coach who went off last night after a loss. We'll get into all of that and more. Game night brought to you by Power Business Technology. Experience how the power of family can help your business office equipment needs today. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or go to powercopiers.com. More of Game Night right here, Sactown Sports 1140.
Sactown Sports brings you a doubleheader of NFL playoff action this Saturday.
Fellas, how we doing?
Nate, we're good. How are you today, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for doing the show, everybody.
Good to have you here. And unlike Kyle, at least you don't have a Charlotte hat on today because Kyle brought his Detroit hat yesterday. It was the Tigers, not a Pistons. But,
was that a bit he was doing or what? He thinks
know.
he's funny sometimes when he does stuff like that.
Well, I got attention. I'll give him that. But,
okay. Well, that's not always great.
And he is a low-key comedian, right?
He is. And you didn't have
low-key is the high-key term there, Henry.
You didn't have to take his hat yesterday. Thank goodness, because the Kings won.
I told him I was going to chew on him.
I know you did. All right. What do we got going on in the chat room?
So I highlighted this one earlier on. We got Matt Brackman in the chat. I believe that's his name. Do we think Fox is playing hurt? Dude hasn't looked right in the past 3 to 4 games. And I agree. I think Katie mentioned during the broadcast, which obviously you guys don't usually hear. She was just saying like Fox has been on, and she was saying fatigue. She wasn't.
Yes.
I don't want to put words in her mouth. She said fatigue more than an injury. What do you guys kind of think's up with Fox's lower?
Well, we were talking about it because obviously last week his numbers were not good, and obviously had that 3-point performance against New Orleans with 1 of 10. He's banged up a little bit. It could be going through a stretch where he was tired. We were talking about, do you rest him for a night? The problem was you couldn't rest him yesterday after coming out that blowout loss against New Orleans. But what do you think, Henry? Do you think there's something more than just going through a stretch in the season when there's been a lot of games?
No, I think he does have a little fatigue. He's tired. I said that, but the bad thing about it is that, the team isn't taking care of business the way they should take care of business in order for you to rest Fox. That Detroit game, there was no reason why De'Aaron needed to be on the floor if the team would took care of business the way they were supposed to.
Do you find a way to give him a night off somewhere?
If you can't find a way to give him a night off, you're definitely going to have to start playing with his minutes a little more, taking him out a little earlier, holding him out a little while. Practice for him is going to be nil. Practice for him pretty much is going to be walk through. That's it.
You guys too. He's already missed 5-6 games this year, right? Is that 3 to 6, whatever it is?
Yeah.
He is also playing for that contract too. He needs to get the
All NBA to get the Supermax.
Exactly. So I think that is a huge part of this scenario.
And also, like for all the things you've got to play 65 games, right, to be qualified for all of that. So that is a subplot here. There's a lot going on that because as we talked about, he turned down a 2-year extension, 102.5 Not because it's any slight on the Kings, but because he can get a 4-year, $262 million contract if he
Bet
gets
on
to the
himself.
NBA.
Yeah,
He
bet on
did.
himself.
You know what? If I'm De'Aaron Fox, I'm betting on myself
Yeah.
too. I mean, no question there.
Easily.
But if it's a situation where he's not maybe getting the rest to get back to being the De'Aaron that we've seen, will it hurt him more than just biting that bullet and maybe sitting down for a night?
Also, you got to worry about the fines too with the new NBA rules.
Yeah, but teams are still finding ways to.
Yeah,
load
there has
manage.
been. I think last week or the week before there was the first fine that happened.
Who
from
got
that.
fined?
Was it Tatum? Was it Celtic? No, but it did happen. I don't have the exact. I'll get you that in the next
All right.
break. But
Because
definitely did happen.
because I was wondering how are they going to be able to police that?
Exactly. There's. I'll try to explain the best I can in the next break.
Sure.
We're coming back here in just a sec.
Okay. Welcome back in the game night right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer Henry Turner. Let's get the lights bouncing and get this thing going here.
Look coolio.
Yeah, gotta like it. Nate on the board producing and helping us out, and also chiming in on the Sactown YouTube page. If you want to join us there, you certainly can. Just go to Sactown 1140. Some good conversation about De'Aaron Fox. Is he hurt? Is he tired? What's going on with De'Aaron? Why are the numbers down? We had that in the chat room during the break. Kings in Charlotte tonight. Second night of a back-to-back. Now, the Kings did win their last back-to-back here against Orlando, that double overtime thriller. So they're 1-4 on back-to-backs. I know how you feel about just the overall concept of back-to-backs. We've discussed that thoroughly. It's the third game in 4 nights for the Kings as well. But the bottom line is they're playing a Charlotte team tonight that's 1 in 13 their last 14 games. And that win, as we know, came against Sacramento. So regardless of whether it's a back-to-back 3 or 4 or whatever, the Kings need to find a way to avenge last week's loss.
The Kings got to find a way to get back to being consistently good, playing consistent basketball. You know, consistent was the word that they were lacking against Charlotte the last time. They didn't play consistently well, and they let Charlotte get some confidence. They let Charlotte get some momentum. They let Charlotte see that they can hang with them, and it was a dogfight all the way to the end, and you couldn't win.
Yeah, that's an example. Again, that first quarter, kind of like last night against Detroit, but Charlotte got it going, and once they got the momentum, the Kings couldn't overturn it.
Right, and they had enough guys on their team because they have some veterans that can play. They had enough guys on their team to where once they got it going, it was hard to stop those guys. I don't care how well you played. You know, they have confidence. Now you really have to do something extra to try to overcome all of that.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously the Hornets are banged up. We'll have a full injury report upcoming, but I mean, you know, suffice it to say 4 of their 7 leading scorers won't be playing tonight, but they will have Terry Rozier. They will have
they were
Miles
banged up when
Bridges.
they was here.
I hear you. Those same players are still out. It did make a difference in Sacramento, to your point.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, you know, I know we read the report to, you know, to let our fans know what's going on.
Sure.
But for the overall psychic of a player, that means nothing, bro, when you just got beat by that exact same team on your home floor. Really, tonight, you might be more at a deficit than you were on your home floor.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, you know, again, Charlotte, they're 4-13 away from home, so they're a little bit better at home. They're 4-11, not much, but still, the Kings, you know, they got to find a way to get off to a good start tonight somehow.
You know what, Scott? I wouldn't even say they have to find a way to get off to a good start. They would have to find a way not to let Charlotte get off to a good start. You know, if you're going to struggle, and we're talking offensively, because if you struggle defensively, of course, Charlotte's going to have a hell of a night.
Yeah.
We're talking offensively. If you're going to struggle offensively, you can't let them score either. You know, the first quarter going to have to be, you know, 17-18, something like that. You cannot let those guys have some success to where they're up 10 at the end of the first quarter. Now, you can't do that.
Yeah, for sure. And again, as we talk about, it's a 5-game road trip. Last night and tonight, on paper, we understand what paper means, but on paper, these are the 2 easiest of the 5 games because they go to Philadelphia on Friday. We'll see about Embiid's status. A little worrisome for him. He's had some swelling in his knee. Bucks on Sunday, and then you've got the Kings in Phoenix on Tuesday before coming back home.
No, and Scott, I'm with you 100%. When you take the 5-game roadie that they're on right now, these 2 games put you in a very good position on the overall scheme. You win both of these games, you got 2 wins. 3 wins on the road is a hell of a road trip for you.
Sure.
So you're going to have to squeeze one of those other 3 out to say it's a hell of a road trip. Yep. So it's very important. These first 2 you got to get.
No doubt. All right. Mike Brown's comment on it, looking back at the prior game against Charlotte was, quote, to not have an awareness, a sense of urgency. It was not a good feeling being out there and being a part of it. And obviously I had a lot to do with it because I did not have our guys ready, apparently.
Better get them ready tonight. They have to be ready tonight. You know, we've seen too many times that this team let other teams get them down. And I think it's really a lot of the players thinking that we can come back because they've been able to do it. They really have, Scott. I mean, they really have been able to put quarters together to where you're like, wow, these boys then came back. But on the same token, we're the same basketball team that have let other teams come back from 20.
Yep.
So, you know, we got to have more the word is consistency for this team. We got to have more consistent play to where you guys are playing at a very high level.
No doubt. The overall record, all of that is good, but the ups and downs have been more extreme for sure. All right. When we come back, we talked about some coaching news, a big-time extension in Miami, the Raptors coach going off after a loss in L.A., Kawhi Leonard, big-time contract extension, and Draymond in the news as well. His quotes, the Grizz playing without John Morant showing up last night. We'll get into all of that and more. It's game night. It's being brought to you by National Garage Door. Call today for your basketball special, 916-638-4554. More of Game Night right here, Sactown Sports, 1140.
Check out this week's episode of Golf to Go with Frank.
All right, Scott, we had Henry step out.
Yes, it's you and me, Nate.
Okay. Well, I have the rules I have the explanation, but I'll do that when he gets back. But it was shout out to Nick in the chat.
Yes.
He let me know that it was the Brooklyn Nets before I had to look it up, but I did a little bit of a
thank you, Nick.
Deeper dive.
Yeah.
So this was from Joe Dumars. He said after the Knicks rested 4 of their kind of key rotational players, that was the issue they had.
It was 4.
4 of them. Yeah. We've talked to all 30 teams about, hey, there's a way to rest your players. What we said is sitting 4 or 5 guys at one time is not the way. So if you want to get your players rest, there's ways to do this. But if you do it in a way where it becomes egregious in terms of sitting 4 or 5 guys at a time, that's not what we're about in an 82-game league.
Okay, and I think that's fair. I mean, when you sit your whole team, that's different. So De'Aaron, if he sits down tonight, there's not going to be a problem with that.
No, and I think Embiid's been doing that a lot. They've been real strategic about that in Philly.
Embiid, it's interesting because he had swelling in his knees. So that's a different scenario altogether. And of course, they're playing Atlanta tonight. So
do you think they stand any chance, Philly, in the East?
Absolutely, I do. I think if they're fully healthy, I think they do. I mean, I think their nucleus right now, the way they've played without Harden, with Embiid and Maxey and Harris, I think are they as good as Boston? No.
Yeah.
Are they as good as Milwaukee? No. But could they win a series? Yeah, they're good enough to threaten. Would I favor them? No. But if Embiid is going to be that MVP type player, yeah, they got a shot for sure.
So I was going to say, do you think it comes down to a 3-team race there in the East? But I mean, look at last year. You had the 10 seed Heat sneak in. So, I mean, anything can happen. And it's hard, especially after it was so recent. But Henry, since you're back, let me. It was the Nets who got in trouble for arresting 4 guys the other night or 2 weeks ago. But the rules, there's kind of 5 rules here. We got about a minute, so I'll go through them real quick. No more than 1 star player is unavailable for the game. Teams must ensure that star players are available for national TV and in-season tournament games. So that's a pretty big one.
But okay. So for the Nets, who was the star players?
Well, they rested too many guys.
They rested 4
Joe
starters.
Dumars came out. I just read a quote from Dumars. He said he doesn't want they were 4 essentially start high minute guys.
And the reason that they were out was what?
Just rest, essentially. It was I think there was no good reason.
You can always play with that and be like, okay, his back hurt, he has knee swelling, his ankle is swollen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ways to get around it. I'm just wondering why teams are going to just say, okay, rest. That's stupid. All you got to do is say he got swollen, back spasms.
Right.
I mean, how many injuries have we had?
The issue was it was 4 players.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall too. It was the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
So it was a little too on the nose, I guess. But you're right. It is gray liney. There's no like black and white. There's no like
exactly.
Yeah, so it's annoying. But we're coming back right now.
All right. Welcome back into Game Night right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marsh along with the High Flyer Henry Turner, taking you until 3:30 today. Nate's got it going today.
Right there. Yeah.
Nate's working the board. Like it.
That Parliament Funkadelic is it.
Nate has got it going. Kings and Hornets tonight. Sacramento trying to even up the season series, also trying to get their second win on a back-to-back. We'll get into all of that. If you want to join us, you can. 916-339-1140. Call or text us. Either way works. And then you can continue to join us in the YouTube chat as well. Let's see here. This text coming in from the 530. Monk and Murray going off last night. I want to see Coach Brown start Monk and let Lyles be that spark for the second unit. Just a few games. I think it would turn things around for us in these slow start games. I know that's something you like to, High Flower. You would like to see Monk maybe get some starts.
I would just like to see how it looked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just how would it look Monk being in the starting lineup? And I feel the same way about Trey Lyles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, move Keegan to the 3, put Trey Lyles at the 4, Sabonis at the 5. How is it going to look from the start?
Yeah. All right. Let's go around the league. And we're going to call this segment Name That Fine. Okay. All right. Nate, you can chime in on this too. I'm going to read you the quote from Raptors head coach Darko Rajakovic after being very upset that his team lost last night in Los Angeles. And it's understandable as they were very competitive last night against the Lakers, ended up losing to LA, who's now won 2 straight. They lost a heartbreaker 132-131. Okay. Free throw disparity was significant in this game. Here was Darko's comments after the game. Quote, "It's outrageous. What happened tonight, this is completely, you can fill it in, okay? This is a shame. Shame for the referees. Shame for the league to allow this. 23 free throws for them, and we get 2 free throws in the fourth quarter. Like, how to play the game. I understand respect for all-stars and all that, but we have star players on our team as well. How is it possible that Scotty Barnes, who is all-star caliber player in this league, he goes every single time to the rim with force and trying to get to the rim without flopping and not trying to get foul calls? He gets 2 free throws for a whole game. How is that possible? How are you going to explain that to me? All right, so name that fine. Where is it? Is it 25? Is it a 50? I mean, he went after the officials and almost kind of went after the integrity.
You know, that's going to be anywhere between 25 to 50 grand.
Okay. What's your feeling on that one?
Because he's going after the referee.
Yes.
Can I have the audio right here? Because you need to hear him talk, because I think it adds money. Here's part of it. Here's part of it.
Please do.
23 free throws in that fourth quarter. What did you
Thank you, Doug. That's outrageous. What happened tonight? This is completely BS. This is shame. Shame for the referees, shame for the league to allow this. 23 free throws for them, and we get 2 free throws in the fourth quarter. Like, how to play the game. I understand respect for all stars and all that, but we have star players on our team as well. How's possible is Scotty Barnes, who is all-star caliber player in this league, he goes every single time to the rim with force, trying to get to the rim without flopping and not trying to get foul calls. He gets 2 free throws for the whole game.
All right, I'll cut it there.
No,
But
that's good.
So,
you got motion. I'm glad you played it because the effect is way better than me reading it. Okay. After hearing that, Dave, you're fine.
And now we just leapfrog that over to 75.
That's a 7,500.
It might be 100K.
Oh, 75. I'm saying 100K. Yeah, I think I might.
100K.
Yeah. So
because that had a little sting on
it. It goes in longer. His English is not the best too, so it's an interesting listen for sure.
The anger is fully apparent.
Yeah.
There's no
language barrier there.
No,
like G-Man would say, it had some stank on it.
It did. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, a fine's coming his way. He's tired of it. And obviously, the Raptors are underachieving right now too. So I mean, that's all.
And
part
it's frustrating.
Of it. Yeah, it's frustrating. You go into LA, and we know what it feels like to go into LA, and in the fourth quarter of a game.
And you know what, Scott?
Free throw discrepancies in a meaningful game.
So, Scott, let me ask you this. In the overall scheme of things, what he said, is that a thing?
Well, it was 23-2.
No. Is it a thing, though? When you go up against an all-star studded team, do the referees lean one side or to the other for those all-star players? Yeah, it's a thing, bro. It's too many teams that have had the exact same thing happen. So, when you talk about the fine, the magnitude of what he's saying, yes, you can't go against the league. You can't go against referees like that. But I'm sorry. Is there some truth in what he's saying?
Everybody knows there is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of coaches, this is a much more positive one. Instead of money being taken out of a pocket, money coming in. In fact, it's not going to be a wallet you're putting this in. It's more like the Brinks truck rolling up for Eric Spoelstra. 8-year extension, $120 million for Spoelstra. So $15 million a year for Eric Spoelstra.
Can I say this? How solid? Come on, man. How solid is the Miami Heat organization, bro? This dude, how many years has he coached in Miami so far now?
I want to say it's 15 now.
He gave 15 years straight. And let's keep it 100. Miami hasn't been championship or bust all those 15 years.
No, they've won 2 championships. They've reached the NBA Finals 6 times.
But they have stayed pat.
Yes, they've had some bad years. Yes.
With this guy and saying that he is our coach and he probably will retire as the Miami Heat coach. When you talk about, finding somebody and riding with them, man, I salute Miami to the hilt, dude, for giving him that type of contract.
When you talk about consistency,
bro,
Miami is the model of consistency.
It's the culture.
Yeah.
You know what? This is our coach. This is how we want our team to play. So we have all of this already. You don't have to search and say, oh, well, is the GM and is the coach on the same string? You know what? It starts from the GM. Really, it starts from Pat. Comes on down to Spo. All those guys have been on the same string for years. Now all you got to do is go out and get the players. You go out and get the type of players that they want, and everybody's on the same string.
No doubt.
It works.
It does work. It's proven. And for Spoelstra, second highest paid coach in the league next to Popovich, who gets $19 million a year. All right. Speaking of extensions, the Clips have signed Kawhi Leonard to a $153 million 3-year extension to stay in LA.
That's now that right there is a little shocking to me. But
in what respect? That it's not as much as you thought it would be?
No.
I mean, okay.
Kawhi Leonard probably played about 14 games in 2 years. He just now jumped on board.
This year he's been great. Yeah, this year he's been great in a
contract year. Yes, but that is just this year he's jumped on board and said, okay, fellas, I'm in for the long haul. This is what it's going to take for us to win. Those other 2 years, I can't go. I'm hurt. I'm sorry.
So he'll get 52 in the first year, 50 mil over the final 2. The extension does not include a player option. So there you go. And to your point, he's having one of his healthiest, most productive seasons of his career. We all understand that.
I need to call him up. Kawhi, let your uncle hold something, baby.
I understand. All right, we've been putting some calls on hold. Let's take a couple calls while we have the chance. Let's go to Mark. Mark, welcome into Game Night. How are you, my friend?
I'm fine, gentlemen. Hope you are as well.
We are.
Just wanted to talk about the Spoelstra extension.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best coaches in the league and has been for many years. I mean, other than LeBron and everybody else, I mean, he's got the most out of a roster that would be average at best, you would think, looking at it on paper. So, I mean, the fact that he got money was awesome. And you're right, Henry. They locked that guy up. And I think another thing is, too, I read a story today. You guys might not know this, but he waited until his divorce was final in order to sign that extension. So his wife doesn't get any of that 120.
Yeah, I didn't see that in the story, but that's a good context right there, Mark. Appreciate the phone call from Mark. We go to Steven. Steven, welcome into Game Night. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, and I hope you guys are well too, man. You guys have the best job in the world, so I know y'all are great.
We are feeling good. What's going on tonight?
So real quick thought. I got a fat echo in my ear, so I'll let you know.
We'll try and fix that for you.
You're good. So long story short, I really kind of feel like this is just my personal, perspective here. I feel like Monk would be really good in the starting lineup.
Yep.
Because I feel like with the moves that are available for us to make, I feel like it's a little bit more. They're going to be a little bit more fringe moves. Now, I would like to get your thoughts on it because I feel like moving Herter to pretty much swapping Herter and Monk, I feel like might be a really good move because Herter during the closing stages of the past few games, he's actually been kind of hot. Like during at least the second half, it's kind of hot, but he's definitely been heating up at least in the second half when he's getting those clutch minutes towards the end. I wouldn't necessarily say it's garbage time because he doesn't deserve garbage time minutes, but he still does kind of heat up in that second half from what I've been able to see. Yep. So I feel like that kind of internal move would kind of do us a little bit better.
Okay.
And set us up for a little bit better. That way we can kind of bolster the bench a little bit more so than trying to, sell the farm to get a replacement starter.
Gotcha.
I
Steven,
feel like that might be a good move.
Yeah, no, appreciate the call. Yeah, thank you so much, Henry. I think that's something you're on board with, at least to try it.
I would try it. The one thing that you don't want to lose, though, is that you really don't want to lose what you have with Monk coming off the bench and with him facilitating and being able to help some of those bench guys that he be in the game with. I honestly don't think that you're going to lose Monk because, his personality is to where he's going to be who he's going to be. You know what you're going to get out of him. I think it will be a plus for De'Aaron because at some particular point, De'Aaron don't mind Monk running and facilitating while he get to either come off screens or defer and do something else different to where all the onus isn't on him. Yeah. So I really think that it'll help those twofold, but you definitely don't want to play with the camaraderie or just say the trajectory of what you have coming off the bench.
No doubt. All right, last story around the league, then we're going to head into our final break and go straight into the Kings talk. But Draymond Green press conference yesterday, his quote was, "I've cost my team enough. I've cost this organization enough. It was easy to open myself up to therapy from a personal standpoint because I needed to gather myself, to recenter myself, and to recalibrate. It's hard to see things when you're just in it. It's hard to see what's necessary to see." All great quotes, making it sound like he's ready to be a different Draymond Green. We'll see if he's able to do that.
We're from Missouri, bro. We're from the show me state.
Show me, right?
Show me.
Yeah.
Because
actions speak louder than words.
I understand how Draymond is. Do we take it to the extreme? Yes, he does. But it's kind of hard to ask a policeman to go out and do his job, but you have to leave your nightstick and your gun at home. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So is Draymond going to still be effective the way he has to go out and play now?
Yes. Can he manage the energy and the anger he needs to work up to play great without showing it?
Without doing the bonehead moves. Exactly.
Yep. All right. Let's sneak in Chris.
Chris,
Chris, we got the reverb going here with you. Chris, can you hear us?
He's got to
turn down your radio, Chris. There you go. Welcome into Game Night. What do you got for us?
Hey, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
I just wanted to comment on
the spark that is Malik Monk coming off the bench. Just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying.
Sure.
I think we need to have that spark. We need to have him. We need to have Herter coming off the bench, that 3 threat, and then we need to figure out who we're going to put in that 3 spot or that 2 spot. I don't think Monk as starter is the solution. I think we lose too much of what makes us work as a team if we put Monk's offensive capabilities in that starting lineup.
Okay.
That's what I want to call about. I want to see Monk staying where he's at.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the call. You know what? We need to put up in a poll question, Nate, online. Should Malik Monk be starting or not? We'll put that up for our next game night show. We'll get into that. We've got to take the break. When we come back, we'll focus in on Kings and Hornets. Also, the Kings got a great award. We'll talk about that, and also a former King who needs a heart transplant. That was just reported today too. So we'll get into that. That's some heavy news also. Game night brought to you by our good friends at Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento. If you want to do something good in our community, help out children who could use a mentor. This is a great cause, great organization. Give them a call. Find out how you can become a volunteer mentor. 916-646-9300 or go to bbbs-sac.org to learn all about it. More of Game Night coming your way next right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
The Kings look.
All right, we are back here. This has been a good show.
Thank you, Nate.
I'm having a good time with you guys.
Well, you're doing a great job.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Thanks. So chat's been going up a little bit. I want to ask you guys, Henry, you're mentioning it earlier, just like the Kings slow start. So they come out super slow with Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, when I'm watching, I'm like, we're doing this again. We're having this night where they just don't show up. But then you have Sabonis get that dunk and he's screaming to the crowd. He said he wanted there to be some crowd noise there. What did you guys? What were you kind of thinking in that first quarter when they almost put up 50? Like where was your worry meter at?
Oh man, I was on the floor.
Yeah. It was extreme.
I was on the floor because,
and I know you're not joking because I've literally seen you on the floor.
Yes.
I mean, it's also coming off of Sunday, right? I mean, if the Kings are beating the Pelicans and they go down 20 in Detroit, okay, that's one thing. They're going to come back and win by 20, right? But what we saw on Sunday and then that first quarter last night, you're thinking, have they checked out? Like, is there something really serious going on with this team?
And it's becoming a theme.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the games where the Kings have lost, they have went down big. And, you know, you go into Detroit. Detroit's the last place you want to go into and go down 20. I mean, you know, I usually don't throw out rankings about NBA teams because I love that every NBA team has NBA players that can win on any particular night. But Detroit is the worst team in the league. I think I'm not the only one that's going to say that.
That's fair.
They've lost 33 to 34. I think it is factually true.
And when you walk into the very first quarter, you go down 20, that's alarming.
Yeah. I think it's still kind of an issue. Like even though they won, they blew them out in the end. I think it's still Drape was mentioning it earlier in Drive Guys, but like these slow starts are dangerous.
Yeah,
super dangerous.
And against a good team like we saw against New Orleans
because
on Sunday,
sometimes you can't come back.
And against Charlotte, who's not a good team.
Yeah. You can't even when you play in a team like Charlotte, you give them a 20-point cushion, you can't come back from that. And if you play a good basketball team, it's a wrap.
How many times have we seen them just take the third quarter off too? So if you come out slow and then somehow, you know, get things back in the second or whatever, you know, late in the first, just you're taking off the third quarter as well. It's like, dude, this is not winning basketball at all.
Nate, I think it's more of basketball IQ.
Okay.
Because a lot of times when the Kings go down, they elect to just shoot three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer. They don't use any other facet of trying to score. You know, they are conditioned to when they run the fast break for guys to flare out to the three-point line. But I'm sorry, some nights when you run the fast break, you have to attack the rim.
Yeah, you're right. We're coming back here in a sec. Scott, I want to let you know we are out at 23:30.
Okay, thanks.
All right, guys.
Welcome back into Game Night right here, Sactown Sports, 1140, our final segment. Kings Live pregame coming up at the bottom of the hour. Jason Ross in this seat, High Flyer stays. G-Man joins. Gary will have the call tonight, 4 o'clock, Kings and Hornets. Game Night brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Check out their full line of luxury vehicles at mbofstockton.com. Taking a look at the injury report for tonight. For the Hornets, several players who are going to be out tonight, and it's no different than what we saw last week. Cody Martin is questionable now. He did play last week. Doubtful right. PJ Washington, who played as well.
That's a big part.
We'll see. Of course, no LaMelo Ball, no Gordon Hayward. So 4 of their 7 leading scorers could be out tonight, all of which should seem like gives the Kings the decided edge tonight.
Means nothing.
Okay.
The Kings have to go in and play. They have to go in and implement their game plan and see it through. I don't care who's on the floor for Charlotte. They're NBA players. The Kings have to go in there and play their game.
Okay. The injury report brought to you by the Arnold Law Firm, providing justice for you since 1975. If you're injured, call the Arnold Law Firm, 916-777-7777. All right. So as I said before the break, a great award for the Sacramento Kings organization. They were voted the best organization in the NBA based on a lot of different criteria. Obviously the on-court performance, but the off-court performance in terms of ticket sales, what they've done in terms of community engagement that we've seen. Obviously the Light the Beam campaign has been brilliant over the last season plus. So congratulations to the organization. Obviously the Kings are producing on the court. They've been producing all across the organization.
Nice.
Those are major props.
Nice. I like that. Salute to the organization.
Absolutely. They deserve it. They've done a great job in this community. On a sadder note, and a player who was a great member of the Kings teams from a couple decades ago, Scott Pollard, announcing on social media today that he's in need of a heart transplant.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's some tough news to take in. Scott's 48 years old. And of course, a fan favorite, beloved in this community, part of the great teams of the early 2000s, just one of the great characters. And, our thoughts and prayers go out for him, and we're wishing the very best for him. And hopefully he can find that transplant. I know it's some tough news to finish out our program.
Yeah, that's a tough one to swallow right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we are just wishing the very best for him, his lovely wife, his whole family. Nothing but the best for the Pollards, and hopefully that condition, there will be an answer to it for Scott Pollard. All right. Awkward transition, of course, but just final thoughts for tonight for the Kings. It is a back-to-back. They're 1-4 on back-to-backs. I understand all of that. It's Charlotte on a second night of a back-to-back. Kings tonight. Obviously, we don't want to see them give up a 47-point first quarter. Other things you want to see tonight?
They got to play Kings basketball, Scott. They can't go down big, right? That's one of the main things. If you don't start off playing great basketball, you can't let Charlotte have a huge first quarter. Play Kings basketball and just do what you need to do and take care of business.
Yeah, they've got to get this one, because obviously they came back and everything was great after that first quarter. But if they don't cement it tonight against Charlotte, you go 0-for-2 against a bad Hornets team. That's not a good way to finish out the race.
Yeah, and for the overall scheme of these 5 games, you need this one.
You need this
because
one.
The next 3 going to be tough.
All right, that's going to do it for Game Night. Thanks for listening. Coming up next, Kings Live pregame tip tonight, 4 o'clock. Keep it tuned all afternoon, evening long, right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
The 49ers earned the NFC's top seed.
On the first play of the game, CMC Dynamite!